What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel when they get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you too can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends to inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today what I want to do is take a quick moment to discuss Kamala Harris' recent visit to the border last Friday. I want to pull up a few photos really quickly of her at the border. And I just have a few questions for you as we look at these photos. Does seeing these photos trigger you? Does it make you as upset as it makes me? Because it genuinely makes me upset looking at these photos because of how much of an insult to my intelligence that it is to sit here and look at Kamala Harris essentially engage in photo ops, pretending to care about the migrant crisis that her and Joe Biden created. Quick crash course. Upon Harris and Biden first entering into office, they immediately put a moratorium on all deportations, effectively stopping all deportations of illegal immigrants. They repealed Donald Trump's Remain in Mexico policy and replaced it with Catch and Release, which is essentially the complete polar opposite of Remain in Mexico. It's now Remain in the U.S. while your asylum seeking process is pending for approval or denial. They created this situation. And not only that, they spent 3.5 years lying to us, at first pretending and lying and saying that the border was secure when it was not, pretending that there wasn't a migrant crisis when there was. And then when they couldn't pretend anymore, they proceeded to lie to us and tell us that there was nothing that they can do about it. And that essentially the migrant crisis was all Donald Trump's fault, even though he hasn't been in office these last 3.5 years. But what else is new? When all else fails, just randomly blame Donald Trump. Now, what happened after this border visit was very interesting. After and during, I should say, the president of the Border Patrol Union came out and had some very scathing words for Kamala Harris. But before we get into what he had to say, I want to get into what the Border Patrol Union stated as far as remarks on Twitter were concerned. So if there was any confusion on whether or not they were behind Kamala Harris Border Patrol, they are not. Despite what the pictures may show you, understand these guys are just doing their job because they fall under the leadership of the President of the United States. But let me pull up a few of these tweets first. Let's start here with the one at the bottom. The one at the bottom reads, Vice President Harris has ignored the border problem she created for over 3 years. She goes down there for a 20-minute photo op and decides to repeat some of the things that the NPBC has said before. But again, where has she been the last 3.5 years? The Border Patrol Union also stated, fact check on Harris' speech at Douglas, Arizona. Today, VP Harris claimed that she played a role in increasing Border Patrol agent overtime pay. This couldn't be further from the truth. As with all things border related, she was nowhere to be found when we needed her. I repeat, and once again, this is coming from the Border Patrol Union. She was nowhere to be found when they needed her. And I'll read this one last tweet right here. It reads, VP Harris asserted in Arizona that CBP needed more resources. We have apprehended over 8 million illegal immigrants over the last 4 years. And now you realize we need help 38 days before the election? You're now realizing 38 days before the election that the Border Patrol agents need help. Unbelievable, to say the very least. And it just goes to highlight how fake, phony, and fraudulent Kamala Harris actually is. But now what I want to do is that I want to get into what the president of the Border Patrol Union had to say about Kamala Harris as it pertains to endorsements, because some people are under the false assumption that for whatever crazy reason, the Border Patrol endorsed Joe Biden when he was running, and I guess now apparently endorsed Kamala Harris. And that is the farthest thing from the truth, but I'll let the president of the Border Patrol Union tell it better than me.
The amount of people.
If I could just ask this, Joe Biden said at that debate back in June that the Border Patrol endorsed him. Is that true?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is not true. We would never, ever endorse Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any Democrat that believes allowing millions of illegal aliens to come into our country and take over cities and commit crimes. We would never endorse such a person.
Once again, that is the president of the Border Patrol Union stating that he would never, ever endorse Kamala Harris, let alone Joe Biden or any other Democrat that supports these destructive policies that we've been dealing with since Harris and Biden have been in office. Now, here's some startling statistics, and many of you are aware of this already, but I do want to bring this up once again in closing as we're rounding things out, because this is extremely important. What you're looking at right here are numbers from what is called the non-detained docket. The non-detained docket, in a nutshell, are illegal immigrants who encountered Border Patrol and then were released into the country. Okay. Some of them are pending their court date for their asylum seeker case. Some of them have already been ordered to be deported, but they're still here in the country. On that non-detained docket, 425,431 of them are convicted criminals. Of that 425,000 number, 13,999 have already been convicted of homicide in their home country. 15,811 of them have been convicted of sexual assault in their home country. Unbelievable. Once again, this is the situation and problem that Harris and Biden created and have now unleashed onto the citizen population. But it gets even worse. That number aside, what we have here are those illegal immigrants who are wandering around the country with pending criminal charges in their home country. Out of 222,141 pending criminal charges, illegal immigrants with pending criminal charges, 1,845 of them have pending homicide charges, and 4,250 of them have pending sexual assault charges. Once again, this is beyond unbelievable. And what's even more crazy is that when you take into account the madness that Biden and Harris have unleashed onto the citizen population, here's what Harris wants to do next. Citizenship for all. Let's get into it.
Must have comprehensive immigration reform with strong border security and an earned pathway to citizenship.
And an earned pathway to citizenship. She wants a mass amnesty bill. A mass amnesty bill in the face of all the information that's been presented to you. Why in the world would anyone vote for this mad woman? How you can justify voting for Kamala Harris is beyond me. Obviously, some people will, but how they can do that in good faith, once again, I just don't understand, given the information that's been presented to us. And this is just a small bit of information concerning the migrant crisis. Forget about the economy. We don't even have to get into all that. But I'll leave you with that. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please share this video on your social media platforms, hit the like button on your way out, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and also don't forget to follow me on Telegram and Rumble. That is extremely important that you do that. Please follow me on Telegram and Rumble at TD Media Group. Both the Telegram and Rumble link will be in the description box below, as well as pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time, and until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.